Hey friends, it's Laura and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be decluttering and going through my scrapbooking paper. So as you can see, these two cubes here in my Kallax unit are filled with scrapbooking paper, and I have them roughly categorized. I have my floral patterns up here. I've got my specialty papers like embossed and foiled paper on this shelf. And then I have all of my non-floral patterns, so animals and polka dots and stripes and that sort of thing. And then I have all of my word patterns, so papers with words all over them. And then I have all of my solid color cardstock, including white cardstock. Then down here I have a couple of shelves of paper pads that I have not taken apart yet. And then I have a few unfinished projects on these shelves here that need to be put away or completed. And then I also have a shelf with all of my 12 by 12 chipboards on it. And this is out of control for me personally. It is way too many supplies for me, and I feel overwhelmed when I need to make a selection or a choice for a project. And I feel overwhelmed just looking at all of it, and I would really like to condense it down to one cube and just simplify everything in my life. It's been an ongoing process for me. And so today I have a couple ideas for how I want to approach this. This is a project I've done before, and you can see it on my channel. I have a whole playlist about decluttering and KonMariing my craft room, and I have done scrapbooking paper before, but I've learned a few things since that video, and I want to implement them for the new year in 2020 and simplify my stash as I move into doing scrap therapy and really focus on a stash that I love, that does not burden me, that feels light and joyful and not overwhelming, and let go of some of the items that I do not need or do not absolutely adore in order to make space for better things like peace and joy, easy selection choice, just easier decisions, quicker finishing of projects, that sort of thing. So I'm excited to go through this. And one strategy I am going to implement that I thought of as I was looking for a paper choice last night through my stash is that I would really like to organize each individual category according to level of favoritism. So putting my absolutely very favorite floral pattern papers up at the top, and then putting the ones that I love, and then putting the ones that I just like, and then putting the ones that are just okay. And then there's a very good chance that a lot of the ones that I think are just okay or that I like, I will end up getting rid of. And for me, just making those categories like, ooh, I definitely cannot wait to use this, I love it, versus, oh, that's pretty, versus, that's okay, maybe I'll use it one day. Like having those couple different defined categories of how much I like a pattern paper will help me make a decision about which items to keep and which to let go of. Because my process of doing KonMari and of letting things go, simplifying, minimizing my craft room has been that I let go of a lot of items that I really like, that I think are absolutely gorgeous, that I adore, but that I'm likely not going to get around to using and somebody else could use and somebody else could benefit from. So it usually isn't as cut and dry as, ooh, I don't like that, versus, oh, I love that. Sometimes the lines are super gray, and getting rid of things that you actually do like can still be beneficial if you're overwhelmed with your stash like I am. So I'm gonna move you through this process today with me and maybe give you a couple ideas for how to do this for yourself if this is something you're interested in. I hope you enjoy this video. Okay, the first thing that I am going to do is go through all of my 12 by 12 paper pads here. I realized looking at this cover that one, if things are in this paper pad, I rarely go to the paper pad and flip through it to look for a paper. I always look through my loose leaf paper first. So this isn't working for me to keep it in the pad. So I need to go through these 12 by 12 paper pads and pull all of these papers out and categorize them according to the categories I already have, which are florals, specialty paper, non-floral patterned papers, words, and solid colored cardstock. So I need to divide all these papers up into those 5 different categories and get them in the shelves with all of their liked papers, and then I can organize them and declutter according to which ones are my favorite and which ones I can let go of. Okay, so I have undone all of my paper pads and put them away in their correct categories, and I've rearranged a little and added a couple categories just to make things simpler for when I go through this, choose my favorites, and declutter. So the very first category is florals. As you can tell, florals are my favorite. That is a huge, like unreasonably huge stack of floral paper. And then we go down to specialty papers. So this is all my foiled, and then my glitters, and embossed, and all that sort of thing. So those are all there. Oh, this also includes vellum and acetate as well. Then we have all of my word pattern papers. So as you can see, they have words all over them. Then this is one of my newer categories. This is animals. So I used to have these tied in with non-floral pattern papers, but I made them their own category because, as you can see, I have quite a bit. And then I have all of my non-floral patterned papers here. So these are all the ones that are not florals, are not specialty, don't have all the words, and don't have animals all over them. This is everything else. And then I have all of my solid colored cardstock down here, or as you can see, this one's a little ombre, but I would end up using it like a solid. So that's what this is. And if you see something that doesn't look like a solid, it's just the branding strip to a solid paper. So that's what I got there. And then I also have all of my cut aparts here that I need to go ahead and cut apart or get rid of, that sort of thing. So I've further divided it. As you can see, now that I've put away all the paper pads, each category looks so bulky. So I need to go ahead and start decluttering, and I'm going to start doing this by taking one category at a time out, and then I'm going to start dividing this up into my absolute favorites versus very pretty, I love it, versus, oh, I like that, versus, it's okay. And that will help me with my decluttering process a lot. And then it will also help me organize my papers when I put them back away. So my absolute favorites are on top. So when I rank them that way, I think I'll be more likely to go reach for them and use them, and I'll find what I'm looking for a lot quicker. So I'm sorting through here, and I've written out some categories on Post-it notes up at the top, and you can see I've got favorite, love, like, and okay. And after I divide everything into the categories, I'm going to go ahead and declutter. Obviously, things in the favorite and love categories, they stay because I love them or they are my favorite. And then it is a lot of the papers in the okay pile and some of the papers in the like piles that end up getting decluttered throughout this process. And I do this for all the categories that I have. You'll just see me do it for floral paper right here. And in case you're wondering, because a lot of papers are double-sided, I always choose the side of the paper that I am most likely to use, my favorite side, and I categorize that piece of paper by the side that is my favorite. So you can see there, I just pulled one out of the floral pile and put it with the animal pile because it had flowers all over it, but it also had moths and butterflies, and I would likely use that paper to cut out the moths and the butterflies. So I categorized it by the way that I would use it. So yes, it had flowers and animals, but I'm more likely to use it for the animals. So I categorized it with my animal paper. And I do that for all of my papers here. It just makes the process really easy and simple for me. For me anyway, I can usually look at a piece of paper and know which side I'm most likely to use or know what side is my favorite because I'm a pretty opinionated person. So I can look at a paper and be like, oh yes, I love that. And then I'll look at the back and I'll be like, that's just okay. The more I craft, the longer and more years I've been into this, the more defined and in touch with my style I am. And I know what kind of decisions I usually make when paper crafting. And that makes this process go quite a bit easier and smoother. All right, friends, I have finished my process. And this is all of the 12 by 12 scrapbooking paper I am getting rid of. It is a very large stack here. very heavy. And then just for fun, I also went through all of my notebooks and journals and am decluttering a lot of those too. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notebooks that are going in my de-stash pile or my decluttering pile. I returned 2 unopened ones to the store, and then I also recycled 2 old ones that were used up that I did not need anymore. So things are looking much lighter around here. This is a ton of scrapbooking paper. This is like probably 1/3 of all of my 12 by 12 scrapbooking paper. It's a lot. And I feel so much better now. I'm gonna go ahead and show you what the shelves look like. So here are what the shelves look like now. I still have them divided up into more categories than I did before, but I feel better about this. Even though it takes up more space, I really like it. So on the top, we have all of my floral papers, and these are right up at the top because they are easily the type of pattern paper I reach for most. And then on the second shelf, we have all of my specialty papers. This one is gold foil and vellum, acetate, foil, all kinds of stuff like that. I think I even have some glitter and fabric paper in there as well. So that's all my specialty paper on the second shelf. And as you can see, these shelves are looking a lot better, way less paper on it. This is all of my word patterned paper. So everything that has words on it, you can see that. And then here, this is one of the additional categories I created, and this is just something I'm learning to do as I declutter and as I learn how I scrapbook. I realized that I wanted all of my animals in a separate category. So we've got birds, lots of butterflies. I love to cut out butterflies and moss. We also have lots of bunny papers because we have a bunny. So we got more birds there. More bunnies here, unicorns. So all of my animals are right here. We got cats. So love that, and I can easily reach for any type of those when I need to, especially if I'm doing a pet layout. And then we have all of my other pattern paper down here. So dots, stripes, anything else besides animals, words, and florals are down here. So we've got rainbows and lots of patterns and hearts and tiles and all kinds of stuff like that. So that gives you an idea of what this category looks like. All the other types of patterned papers that don't fit into the other categories up there. So that is still by far my largest pile, but much smaller than it was before. And then we have all of my solid colored cardstock right here, lots of white. We've got my cut aparts right here. I was gonna go ahead and cut them apart, and I realized I just did not have the time to do it today. So I will get back to that later. And then this is all other stuff that I need to figure out. These are layouts that I need to put away. This is all of my chipboards. So you can see all the chipboards there. And then down here is just a cluster of things that I have not put away yet that need to be put away in the right spot. So as you can see, the shelves look incredible. Like I said, very thin, lots of space in between them, and I could condense it all down into one cube if I mix the categories, but for right now, I really like that separation. I just wish I could find an organizer where it was a little less space in between each shelf so I could have more shelves, so that way I could fit all the paper up there because it could all fit on that shelf. So that's what it looks like. I'm feeling amazing. Again, this stack is huge. Lots of paper there. Very excited to be decluttering this. And again, here are the journals that I got rid of. 2 went back to the store as well, and then 2 got recycled. And now my notebook container looks a lot better too and more organized, and love that. So everything's coming along. I hope you've enjoyed this video and seeing how I declutter and organize my paper stash. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section down below. I have a whole playlist where I KonMari and declutter my craft room if you're interested in seeing my process for all the different categories and how I've done this process for paper before. It's a journey, and every 6 months or year or so, I find that I can always declutter more, and it's just a great feeling for me to simplify what I'm working with so decisions come easier, creativity comes easier, all that good stuff. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, friends!